So, you want to know how to use Statista? Statista is one of the databases that NU Library subscribes to, and it's a little different from many of our other databases. Instead of having articles from journals, magazines, and newspapers, it has numerical data from surveys, statistics, reports, and other kinds of information. To get there, we'll start at the library homepage, library.niagara.edu. From there, we'll click on Databases A to Z. This will open up in a new tab, and now we can click on the letter S to jump right to the databases that begin with that letter. Now I click on Statista, and this opens up in another new tab. If you're off campus, you'll be asked to log in with your Purple Pass username and password. In the search box, we can enter a topic, such as a certain industry or product or hobby. Let's try entering smartphones. When we look at the results, notice that they each have a little icon next to them in different colors. The sidebar on the left shows what each of these icons mean. The orange ones mean dossiers and reports, which are more like articles or reports that are written in paragraph form, and these are among the first few results here. But since most people use Statista for the numerical information, let's look for a blue icon. That would indicate statistics, surveys, or infographics. Here's a result with a blue icon, which means this one is a set of statistics. So we'll click on Active Smartphone User Base in the US 2009 to 2019. Now here's a bar chart with the information. Whenever you see some kind of chart in Statista, you can hover the mouse over certain items, and sometimes it will display more information, or sometimes it will just highlight the information already there to make it a little easier to read. On the right, we see a box with three items: Source, Details, and FAQ. Statista collects its information from a variety of sources, so this first section shows us where the data originally came from. So the data in this bar chart here came from a company called CTIA. We can also see the date when it was originally published, so we know how current it is. I'm recording this video in January 2021, and I see that this data was published in August 2020. So it's still somewhat current, but just keep in mind that with any technology-related topic, information can change very quickly. Under Source Link, we can actually go to the original website or report that provided the information. If we click on that, we go to the CTIA website. So we can see that the original source of this information was a written report. Now here's the same chart that we saw on the previous page, smartphones in active use. But because this is part of a longer report, we could also look at the rest of this report for additional information, and this is always a great way to learn more about whatever your topic is. For example, here's another chart, and this one has data about the number of minutes used, messages sent, and megabytes of data used each year. Now let's just go back to Statista. Now again, looking at this box on the right, we just looked at the source section. Let's look at the details section. And now here we can get a little bit more information about the data, such as the time period when it was collected, which is different than the time period when it was published. So we can see that this data was collected 2009 to 2019. And we can see what geographic region it covers, in this case the United States. And this is important to know depending on if your assignment covers a specific geographic area, such as if you're looking for data for the entire world or just certain countries like the United States or Canada. And then the FAQ section just includes some general info about using Statista's data. Scrolling up a little bit, we see a section called Download, and you can use this to save the chart in different formats. So there's PDF, and this is usually the kind of document that you would open up in Adobe Acrobat or Adobe Reader, and it's usually sized the same as a sheet of paper, so it makes for easy printing. There's also XLS, which is a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. There's PNG, which is an image file. And this is a good choice to use if you want just the image file that you can easily copy and paste into a written report. And then there's PPT, which is a Microsoft PowerPoint slide. Like many of NU Library's databases, Statista also has a way to generate a citation. Citations are the way that you list your sources at the end of a research paper, in a section that's usually called something like references or works cited. To the right side of the bar graph, we're going to click on that little button that looks like quotation marks. Now we can select what format we're using, such as APA or MLA, which are the most common formats. So for APA, we have a correctly formatted citation already written up for this particular chart, and you can just copy and paste that into your list. But a word of caution, just make sure that you double check the citation against any style info that you already have from your instructor, just to be sure that it is indeed formatted correctly. And make sure that anything that is in italics, such as the database name here, also ends up being in italics when you paste it into your final document. Now you know how to use Statista. If you still have questions, feel free to contact NU Library for assistance.